Good morning, grand rising. Blessings to each of you. Excuse me, here from the coast. Oh, now it's saying I'm good live. Okay, I sometimes I don't know how that works. Am I live or am I not live? Uh, I'm going to shut this window as we have neighborhood lawn mowing going, and I don't know if that's interfering with the sound or not. So we'll just let it be out there. Good morning, Grand Rising. Welcome to Presence of Light Talks with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. And it's a beautiful day here in the southwest coast of Maine. The temperatures have subdued a little bit, and it's more like a normal summer day without extremes in any direction. So we are thankful for that. We're thankful for the new moon and the energies that are now coming in as assistance for us to evolve, which will happen right through till 8/8 and then beyond. The gateway, the Lion's Gate, will be open, and we will receive many hmm, many messages. Those are my guides. That's what I'm going to receive, as many messages. But we're going to receive lots of energy that are going to help us with transitioning into the future. And that's today's topic, is transitioning forward. How do we and why and where and what and all of these things, which we may not even be aware of what's happening on many levels. So transitioning forward, what does that really mean? Transitioning forward, what can that possibly mean in many ways? The possibilities are endless. What it means is that we are shifting and changing. We're moving out of one paradigm of living into another. There are many ways it's been explained by many others, many much wiser than I am. And each one of us are really speaking the same language, we're just using different words. The truth of all of this is humanity is evolving. And humanity, like all other species, will evolve. There's not any reason for us not to, because the whole planet is evolving. And not only is the whole planet evolving, our galaxy is evolving. Not only the galaxy, the multiverse that it's in is evolving. It's a continual pattern of change. Nothing stays the same. It is always creating itself over and over and over. Sometimes repeating things, sometimes adding new things. I think that's how we as humans work. If we look at our lives, we look at children, we didn't know and do very much, did we? But we grew in time, what we call time, the spiraling of the energies, like the spiraling of the planet, the spiraling of the universe, created new adventures for us. And we gained in wisdom, we gained in strength, we gained in understanding. And then we reached a point where we could think for ourselves. However, when that happened, we had all other people around us telling us what to think, telling us how to do things, directing us in many different ways to be or to do something. And many of us had a completely different intention, but we listened to our elders and our teachers, and we were taught to follow orders. We were taught to, these people or these beings had more knowledge than we did, so we were to trust them with our lives and our paths. Over lifetimes, many of us have done this, and some may be here for the first time as a human being. The reality of all of this is this uh, mixture of teachings over thousands of years is now corrupted. So I always like to refer this to like your computer. Your computer is corrupted, and you go looking for one file and you get something else, and then you get an older file and you say, no, I've rewritten that file 6 times. Or you want the older one and you can't find it. So what happens invariably is that we listen to others and we receive their wisdom or their information. And I don't know why I'm not seeing people here in the comments, but I know you're there because you showed up last week. And I want to thank you all. Let's see if I can find you. No, comment mode default. Well, it says everything's working here. Nothing's blocked off. Okay. What do I know? Comments are not showing. Oh, there we are. Wayne, Haiti, Carriana, how are you? There, now I can see you. It disturbs me when I can't see you. I love you all. So what we're doing is we're moving forward. We're moving forward in an evolutionary process. It doesn't mean that we're going to develop different forms. Our bodies are not probably going to change. Uh, but our wisdom and our ability to do certain things will be modified. It's going to be modified in a what I would call a beneficial way, not only for humans, but for all life forms as well as planet Earth. And so when I looked at this word transitioning this morning, I really, it brought up all the shifts and distortions that we seem to be moving through right now. And so the source of energy hasn't changed. The source of energy is always remains the source of energy. Whatever name you want to put to it, however you want to engage with it. Good morning, Radhika. Good morning, Linda. So all of this energy that we're now becoming aware of, both in ourselves and around us, most of us are seeing some uh, challenges in the frequencies. They don't always fit. We just don't seem to fit here or there, or we see something and it's way out of proportion and we question. We're saying, why does that happen? Why are people being like that? Why am I different? And what is happening right now? What it is really a breakup. There's an energy that breaks up all these energies and are sent into the air and the atmosphere and into our bodies as fragments. They're energy fragments, and that's how I'm guided to look at them. They're energy fragments. And what happens is unknowingly we absorb these energy fragments. And they're like anything. They're like if you breathe in dust. If you breathe in too much dust, you're gonna cough. If you are allergic to certain things, you're going to sneeze. So it isn't that anything is happening intentionally to harm us, but the shifting and changing and the transitioning forward creates a wake of things that we no longer need, being swept behind us and new things coming in which we may not be ready to receive yet. And this is not a shortage on our part. This is basically the evolutionary process. Everybody does not awaken at the same time. So it's just like sleeping. If everybody woke up at the same time, that would be very unique. We all awaken at a different time. So awakening in our physical body is similar to awakening to our higher spiritual body or a higher energy body. And we have to take it in, we have to do it slowly. You know how when you jump out of bed and you're startled? Well, that's because your energy is coming on with a forceful punch and it's going everywhere, whether it wants it or not. So it's scattered. As we awaken to the evolutionary process of humanity, we are to take it in small bites, if you will, and then trust that what we have taken in finds a place within us where there's balance and harmony. And I have to get this straight. This drives me crazy. Anyway, so we have to come to this place where there's balance. There's balance between the old and the new. Because we hang on to the old too long, we are blocking the new from coming in because there's no room. If we bring the new in too fast, it pushes the old out. Well, it doesn't push it out immediately. What it does is pushes it up into our consciousness. And when we have too much of the old that we want to get rid of pushed into our consciousness, we become overwhelmed with fear, pain, suffering, because a lot of what we've been through has been stored in our cellular structure, and it's pain, and it's harm, and it's hurt, and we've not been able to let go of it as easily as we can and are able to do. And that's what transitioning forward is really about, is this place where each of us are growing into ourselves. So I have gentle guides who like to chuckle, and they give me these little messages. So we're growing into who we truly are. And many of them think of us as small children who are learning, and they want us to learn properly, not by rules and regulations, but by experience. Now, none of this is in my show notes. My show notes might say something completely different, but that's okay. I'll refer to them eventually. The reality all of us is going through is that this spiral galaxy that we are is spiraling through what we call the universe. And that universe is spiraling through the multiverse, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on and on and on. The reality is, can we recognize that if we spin in the same circle over and over and over again, it's like remember the records where you had the needle and the records? Some of you do, some of you don't. And if you played that record long enough, you'd get one place that would get stuck, and then it'd start skipping, or it'll get a scratch and it'll start skipping, and it'll stay in that one spot. And the longer it stayed in that spot, the more aggravated you got listening to it. Hello. This is what happens when we are sort of, as these flat earthers, going around in a circle and a circle and a circle and a circle until it gets annoying. Those of us who realize that this whole process is a spiraling, that it's not going just around and around, but when it comes to that same point, it moves ahead, ahead, ahead. This is what's happened, is we are now going into a new, I'll call it epic of humanity. And what's happening is those who are very comfortable in this one are frightened that they will lose their power. And what happens is those who are in power have risen into power not by love and kindness, most of them. Most of them have done it through greed and power and will. And so the heart isn't there, the love isn't there, which reflects on all of us, is they look at us as something to a commodity in many ways. We, the mass of humanity, as a commodity. I'm not going there. So what we're doing is evolving in many ways, like the spiral galaxy is. And the difference for us is we have a conscious awareness of what we're going through. Our challenge in all of this is to release our collective trauma. Now, trauma occurs when we come to a place where we know something is correct or a way to go, and something stops us and forces us to go in a different direction. I'm just going to put it in those terms. In that moment, what happens is there's an external force that's driving us to do something or go somewhere where we in our hearts know is not a beneficial place for us. You see, the real intelligence is in our heart, not in our brains. And I will say this, and people will argue with me, but the reality is the brain is like the hard drive in your computer. It is like your computer. This is why artificial intelligence works, because they can make it electronic. They can make electronic brains now. So what does that do for humanity? Does that erase the validity of the human brain? We no longer need to use our brains. Well, what happens to the world when we no longer use our brains? We become part of the machine. So we have no sovereign identity at all. We become part of this whole. Much like civilization. Civilization was created because of fear of the outer world. And they built walls around towns, walls of protection. They lived in fear. So they wanted to protect themselves. So you see, this is containerism. And what we are as the collective humanity is living in a container that was created out of fear. It's the simplest way that I can put it. And the challenge is right now to release that collective trauma that forced us into the circles and civilization, and then created more fear. You see, the fear didn't stop by building the wall. It didn't protect us. And what we found that was within the walls, there were those who saw the power of fear. How the power of fear could overcome the love and the compassion that we had in our hearts, not only for the world around us, but for each other. So, many ways, our ability to love each other has been stolen and diminished and reused as an energy to co-create more fear, and more damage. And this is where we stand now and say, I'm not going to allow this anymore. I choose to transition forward. I am no longer interested in the past. When you see the world reversing laws to go backwards, laws and regulations that were set forth with a great intention in moving humanity forward, and you look at the people who are in fear saying, no, I want to go back to the old way. The old way has more power for me. It enables me to have more power. I'm not concerned about you. I don't care if you have food to eat. I don't care if you have a place to eat, place to sleep. I'm concerned about what's in my bank account, or I'm concerned about my business. I'm not concerned about humanity, about animals, about nature, about Mother Earth, about the water. They're so blind to the self-destruction that they don't see it. I'm not blaming them for it. They just don't see it. They're so wrapped up in this ideology that they've created. They're so enamored with their own power that they no longer see the child on the street who doesn't have a meal. Enough of the negative things. So what do we do when we get to this place of understanding that we are now spiraling forward? Let go of the fear of that. It can feel like a roller coaster ride at times, but that's okay. That's only temporary. It's moving through the things that are uncomfortable for us that create that sensation. It's like the roller coaster hill. That first hill is the tough one. Once you get past that, everything kind of smooths out. So it's that fear of failure, that fear of falling, that fear of not knowing enough or being enough that arises in all of us. And it's now time to set it free. We are powerful. We are amazing. We have the gift of this heart that can love at levels that we have not even yet explored. And that's the energy now that is needed for each of us to tap into, is the energy of the heart. Letting go of the past as it arises. Not shutting it out and saying, I don't want to deal with that today. Granted, there were times when you do that, but know that it's coming up in your awareness to be released or to be reworked, rewritten. So the reality in all of us is that we know in our hearts that we are evolving. The brain is the one that's hard to convince to come on board. However, the heart rules the brain. We have just been entrained to allow other brains to rule our brain. How many movies have you seen in your lifetime? How many of them contained, torture, murders, rapes, and even aliens attacking us? We've all seen them. Some of them are perhaps engaging. But what have they done? They've played on fear. They've made us hungry for that feeling of that scared, ooh, I'm scared feeling, as if it was something good. It is never good. It's a warning system that our body is setting off like a fire alarm that says, danger, danger, gawat, gawat. This is not fun. We've been taught that it's fun. We've been taught to enjoy it. I remember, and as many of you do, your childhood. I ran around with 6 guns, 2 of them holster. I had to have shooting Indians and shooting other bad cowboys, anybody that I didn't like. And that was acceptable. That was acceptable. I look at it now and I'm horrified that that was acceptable, but that's what it was. There's so many cases in all of us that we learned as children that were defying love. There was no love. There was coldness. There was no compassion. And it ended up in blood and death or total fear. Each one of you still carry that within your brain. It's in there, whether you like it or not, whether you want to accept it or not. And this is what's coming up right now to be released. So when you go into fear of any level, I want you to find some place that's calm, some place that's you feel trust in. And think about that. Bring yourself to that place of stillness in your mind. And know that this is the fantasy that became reality that has distorted who I truly am. And each one of you have amazing power over it. When we come into our hearts, we are able to release all of that by honoring who we are, by honoring our capacity to love each other, to want to help each other, to care for each other. And not just us as humans, but the animals, the bugs, the birds. I read something yesterday that the president decided he's not going to recommend stopping using the pesticides on our food. Pesticides on our food keep the pharmaceutical business working very well, doesn't it? Because we need medicine. By inducing the amount of poison we eat and drink, the more we need a remedy. When you look at how the world works, you realize that what we're being sold as care and love, is a little twisted, because first we create the problem, then it creates an industry to correct it. But if we lived in harmony and balance with the earth, all of that would diminish. It would still be there, but it would be diminished. Things for thought. This is what we're going through. I encourage you to accept the fear that comes up in you and say to yourself, I no longer need this fear. Just as if it was an item, an object. Let go of the energy of it and say, I no longer need this. So it's sort of like if you pick up a stingray or a jellyfish, the ocean, and it starts to bite you. What do? You don't, oh, I'm going to keep this. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I love you all. My being here, my gift of being able to be here is to be part of this wave of awakening for others. You don't have to be me, you don't have to think like me, but I want you to find yourself, the true self that's hidden in that programming. The programming that is like a magnetic field that drains us of our collective energy. It's like magnets stuck to our head. We're just stuck and it's just sucking the energy. Get rid of the magnets. You don't need them anymore. We need to be free. We need to be the magnet, the attractor field, not the attractor field sucking on us. I'm going to end this with some words I wrote for the Global Heart team yesterday. I didn't get to be there live, which is a wonderful, beautiful meditation. It's not recorded, it's private, but I mean, people are welcome to join the team. And you can look that up, Global Heart Team, on Facebook. But the topic was soothing our personal heart. This over here. Soothing our personal heart. And I never know what's going to happen. I just get the titles. And so this is what came through. Our heart is the center of beingness, which gives and receives life to our body. It is deeply affected by the world around us, as well as the energy we do not see within us. When our heart is weakened by daily distortion, we are slowly diminished and become condensed. In this moment, it is in this moment of awareness that our heart speaks throughout our physical body with a warning of danger. We may call it fear, yet it is only an alarm system to awaken us before we become deeply damaged. Soothing is the result of calming, relaxing, quieting, with an intention to remove all disturbances. It is the rhythm within us that is out of order and can be reharmonized by external sound frequencies. Like music, like the music we hear with our ears, the drumbeat of our heart must be in tune. Find the sounds or vibrations around you and bring back the harmony and balance. Or the unbearable distortion will never release the unbearable distortion within. There's an old saying, like attracts like. Be careful. Be careful as we transition and evolve. Place your heart ahead of everything else. Make the healing of your heart the most important. And if it's not aligning with that, think twice about it. Remember, transitioning forward is created within us, not outside of us. We are responsible for our evolution. Not them, not they, we. Each as an individual molecule, a drop of water, if you will, in an ocean that is so vast we can't even imagine it. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. One heart, one love. Forever. For eternity upon eternity upon eternity. Oh, bless you all. Take those words and those thoughts that rose in you and take the positive ones and let them balance out the negative ones. Notice where the negative ones hit you and say, there's a place to work. I can begin right there. We'll see you next week. May the blessings of all existence shine upon you and shine from within you, because you are the bringers of the dawn. Love you all. We'll see you next Friday. And if not, you'll see me on Facebook, on my blog, or YouTube, or somewhere. And the key is it's not about me. It's about you and all of us together awakening to the truth. No more lies.